Britain is weirdly superstitious about animals being places.
That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
If the ravens ever leave the tower, then Britain will fall.
So they can't go out without
extras.
people losing their shit.
Bears of good news. Bears of good news. Bears of good news. It's the Bears of good news. The good news bears is what I'm talking about.
Good news, everyone!
Hello and welcome to Bears of Good News. I'm Sasha Ellen and I'm joined by comedian and filmmaker Adrian Tauss, who looks like he's about to sell us some reasonably priced kitchenware. It's a very QVC look you have going there, Adrian. And comedian Duncan McGarrity, who looks like he's about to state some demands in a hostage video.
Hello. Please.
Your background is terrifying, Paul. You know that, don't you?
The background is my normal wall.
That's not just a normal wall. That's loads of weird stuff behind you.
No,
There's a lot going on here, Paul.
everyone has a 1940s map of RAF emplacements on their wall.
The news is very scary. Not as scary as Paul's bedroom, but still quite scary. It's always been the scariest show on TV, but this season they've really stepped it up a notch. It's kind of like the writers of the news have gone through a breakup, had to move back in with their parents and started listening to Evanescence. So to counteract the terrifying effects of the news, we have created Bears of Good News, and we've joined the ranks of other good news organisations to bring you good news stories from around the world that make us smile. Adrian, what have you got for us this week?
Some of you might have already heard about this, but a retired farmer in Kansas, Arizona, mailed a single N95 mask to the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo. I'll read you a little bit. Please find enclosed a solitary N95 mask left over from my farming days. It has never been used. If you could please give it to a nurse or a doctor in your city. Isn't that really sweet? And it's also probably the first time in history a politician got a package in the mail that didn't contain anthrax or poo. So that's really nice. Cuomo was visibly moved when he read that out in his press conference, brandishing the mask to show people, which, I mean, dude, don't touch it. You're supposed to give it to a nurse. President Trump was also very moved when he heard about this and decided to do a similar thing and send Andrew Cuomo a package with a bottle of bleach and a half-empty
This is funny.
Really?
Can we keep this in?
To be honest, that's an incredible
He
present to sell
mailed
someone
a
just through the
in an
mail.
envelope.
Now, question for you guys. How do you think lovely Dennis and Sharon reacted when they realised that Governor Cuomo read out their letter in a press
That's
conference?
an interesting one. Because they seem lovely, but they also seem, no offence to them, backcrap mental. Again, lovely. You know how some people... It's okay. I feel like they're one of me, like really nice, well-meaning, but mental. Yeah. So I feel like the reaction...
Yes, because you'd think there's probably a nurse in their hometown going like, hang on.
But they don't like that one. They don't like that nurse. They don't like Sharon the nurse. They're like...
Sharon, turn on the news. That's not for you.
Remember, they're in rural Kansas, so they're really far off the beaten track.
I don't know. Did they kill their favourite chicken? Or I don't know.
That's an interesting reaction, Sasha. Yeah, why is that the first thing?
A lovely roast to celebrate.
Oh, I see,
right.
yes.
I didn't mean like as a ritual sacrifice.
To sacrifice
the
it
governor
to
of
Lord
New York.
Cuomo.
It's interesting that they did send it out of state, though, as well. Like, again, they picked New York. Like they're like, those city folk, they need our help.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. You would expect them to be kind of prejudiced, but New York has been most heavily hit, and also Kansas apparently didn't really have that many cases.
Yeah, you're saying that, but you don't know that they licked it first.
Oh, why are we being so mean to these people? This is lovely.
I know, it's really... I was trying to keep this light for
sorry.
once in this show.
I think it's really lovely. I just like the idea that they watched the press conference and went, I thought you sent that to Rivers, Cuomo.
Shall I reveal it?
Yes. How did
Okay,
they
well,
react?
it's a bit of a trick question because they didn't actually see the press conference. Their son did in a few states over and recognized the writing and said, "That's my dad," and got in touch with them and told them. Then they got tracked down by a journalist who tracked them down using some sort of local farming registry. And when they were approached and asked how they feel about it, they said, "Well, we just wanted to help and we're surprised by this media attention, but we hope it's going to go away by the end of the day."
This journalist didn't go to their house.
This was
did he?
over a week ago, and we're still talking about it. But they're just really sweet people that just wanted to
I like
do the
that
right
it's
thing.
people like us that won't let it lie. You know, like well-meaning,
And making fun
but
of them
mental.
as well.
Well-meaning but mental. This is how it works.
I think it's lovely, but I also think the governments of the Western world can't keep relying on old people to support.
Yes, that can't be their strategy,
Yeah.
can it? That can't be the
That's
only
been the
thing
strategy
to
so
keep the supply
far.
going.
Yeah.
And look at how
True.
well it's worked out. Brilliant. Our second story this week, Palm County Animal Shelter in Florida. I'm sorry, I'm going to try that again because I know it's not the right name of the shelter.
It's not just me.
Our second story today, Palm Beach County Animal Shelter in Florida has completely emptied their kennels. Their kennels are completely empty for the first time since they opened. The dogs did get adopted. They haven't organised
Thank God.
and escaped and are now running for the governor of Florida.
So it's just like,
In
empty
fairness,
yourselves.
Emptied the kennel. What happened to the dogs? Never mind.
in fairness, that is very close to the storyline of the Tiger King. So I feel like it would make an amazing sequel.
Sasha,
Dogs are like, let's go.
Sasha,
Yeah, sorry.
I just hope there's one employee who's going like, I've always wanted to do this. Release that.
Royalties for who let the dogs out went through the roof.
Yes, of course. So yeah, all the dogs have been adopted, and the kennels are really, really excited by the dogs being adopted by what they're calling dog parents, which I always find quite creepy. Like I always find it quite creepy when people say like cat dad or dog dad or my dad. I don't like it. I don't
You
like
can only
it.
be a dog parent if you commit to breastfeeding.
Paul has a 6-month-old baby. You haven't been I'm not going to ask. I don't think I should know. Okay.
Don't ask a question you don't want to know the answer.
I
to,
know.
Sasha.
I don't want to know.
He's not getting much nutrition.
So after the last dog was adopted, all of the workers stood outside the kennels and clapped and cheered, and the video went viral, which is really nice. But imagine being that last dog walking out of the kennel, the door closes and everybody goes, he's gone! Yes! What a fucker! It's like if you walk out of a party, the door closes and everybody's like, yay, it's safe now, Sasha's left!
How do you know we
Right,
do
guys,
that? How do you know?
I can hear through the door. Your door's on all up there, Adrian.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right,
usually
so my
you don't even
question-
wait until you leave as well.
I know, right? They start celebrating when I get my coat.
This is a huge win for dogs because they've moved on a long way. What people don't know is when the plague broke out in London, they actually massacred all of the dogs on the street. So
Oh wow, keep it
massacre,
light, Paul.
adoption, much better.
Oh,
Wow.
I'm so glad that they proved that like dogs don't carry the coronavirus really early.
Yeah.
That's really, oh my god, that's
Well,
so good.
cats
We're
apparently
still
do,
coming for you, cats.
So
Yeah.
Jangles the cat can get it, Adrian. Anyway, right, so my question to you guys is this. Which animals, so all the dogs have gone, which animals do you think the shelter still has left?
Oh, it better
So
not be
which
cats.
animals and how many do you think the shelter still has left?
Where's the shelter again?
Florida.
Oh, alligators. What else do they have? Spiders. There's got to be a bunch of spiders.
Meth
in there.
addicts.
No.
You can adopt one.
Is it just one meth addict that just kind of looks a bit like a dog?
Okay, there are 2 easy and 1 hard answer, and I feel like you guys have gone for alligators and meth addicts early.
Florida, baby. Cats?
Yep, how many?
6.
2. Okay, what
Oh.
else?
Oh, come on. I'm sick and tired of cats being less popular than dogs in this scenario. What if
2
the
cats, Adrian. 2 cats.
Yeah, how many dogs were there though?
48.
Yeah, there you go. Unbelievable.
Cats.
Unbelievable. I'm offended on Bojangles' behalf.
Okay. Adrian, do you want to have a guess?
What? I thought we answered it. 2 cats.
Oh, I'm sorry. No. There's more. So there were 2 cats, 2 horses, and this is where reports differ. Some reports say a rooster, and some reports say a pig.
Hang
which
on,
makes
you
me
can't...
think like, exactly.
How
what
can
the
you
fuck
confuse
kind of
that?
winged swine monstrosity are they harboring? What is that animal that reporters look at it and go,
I don't know.
I don't know. Could be a rooster, could be a pig. One of those.
Wow.
It's kind of like
it's only
the
one way to
Cartoon
find out. If
Network.
it's got a curly tail, then you pull it and it goes. It's definitely a meth addict.
Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird. It reminds me of the Cartoon Network show Cat Dog. How did it poo? How did it poo? So that's our second story for today. Paul, what do you have for us today?
I'll take you to the Tower of London, where the man with the greatest job title in everywhere, the Master of Ravens, has announced that there have been,
That's usually
3
something you only have as a character name in a D&D game.
I want that to be my character in a D&D game. Can I have? Keep going. I'm sorry.
He was a season 3 antagonist for He-Man. Anyway, the Master of Ravens has announced that there have been 3 new chicks born whilst in lockdown. Very beautiful. You can see the video on the Tower of London's Instagram page. They are surprisingly cute for harbingers of doom. In fact, actually, they're quite the opposite, because whilst it's a story where you get to see a cute little animal born, baby chicks, very beautiful. But do you know the superstition of the Tower, the ravens at the Tower of London, don't you?
No.
That if the ravens ever leave the tower, then Britain will fall as a country.
So they
we've got
can't
3
go out
extras.
without people losing their shit.
No, exactly. So the more ravens we get there, these birds have been under a stay-at-home order for like centuries, just on the off chance that the superstition is correct. They actually clip the wings of the ravens that live there, so they literally cannot fly
That's
away.
horrible.
Oh, I was going to say, do they let them out occasionally? Be like, let Barry have a little fly.
No,
But no, they don't.
No. Because what if Barry leaves and then, Gibraltar gets hit? Which actually,
That's amazing.
Wow.
It's not the only time we Britain is weirdly superstitious about animals being places.
That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
No, so the ravens, these 3 ravens won't actually live in the tower at first. They're going to somewhere called a Raven Haven.
Oh,
Yes.
that broke something deep inside me.
But they have them around the country. They spread them out so that they're safe on all these Raven Havens. And then,
like an off-site backup.
Yeah, basically. And
Is
then
it like
they bring
having
them in.
lookalikes for a state figure? Is that what it is? Like we'll back him up. It's like backing
they've-
something up on a USB.
All of the ravens have tiny Stalin mustaches. But no, they would bring them in to restock if we need. Because honestly, but it's not the first time. In World War II, talking of Gibraltar, there's another superstition that if the apes ever leave Gibraltar, it will be it'll return to Spanish ownership. So it was an important place.
Right, but that's a very different scenario of a bunch of, I'm assuming, dozens, if not hundreds of apes leaving an island, than a bunch of ravens flying out of a...
There was intrigue in World War II. There is suggestions that the Germans may have poisoned the apes in an attempt to try and clear the colony off the island. There was a secret mission to ship Barbary apes from North Africa onto Gibraltar overnight to make sure that the colony didn't
Wow.
Wow.
The British are really, really specific about where they want their animals.
That's amazing.
So we've got 3 more in the tower. We're safe. Whatever happens in COVID,
all is well.
we will continue.
All is well.
Wow.
So my
Amazing.
question is actually about the Tower of London, and I've got a couple of them. The first person who was ever imprisoned in the Tower of London was a Norman bishop called Ranulph Flambert. Do you know who the first escapee from the Tower of London was?
The bishop.
It was Ranulph Flambert.
He was. It was the bishop,
was.
wasn't it? Did he run immediately?
Was he dressed like a raven just in case to freak people out?
That's how he escaped. He made some wings.
Yeah. We were like, right, the ravens helped him out. They never leave this place again. Second question then. Who was the last state prisoner in the Tower of London, and who were the last non-state people held in the
I'm not
Tower?
entirely sure what state and non-state prisoners mean.
Yeah, I'm very much
lost.
confused about probably half the words in
So
that
state
question.
is if you've actually been like arrested by the
Ravens.
country.
Yeah.
And non-state was just kind of like they were held on a local level.
Yeah, so they haven't actually formally been charged.
No.
So who was the last person to be held on a non-state level? Are they royalty?
No.
Okay.
When was this?
The one was in 1940s.
Okay.
Harry Styles. I think it was
Harry
Harry
Styles.
Styles.
No, he's still there.
Yep.
He's still there. Still there today.
Just keep him in.
Yeah.
That's my guess for non-state.
Last state prisoner was Rudolf Hess.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the last non-state prisoners were the Cray twins.
No.
What?
Yes. For skipping out on national service, they were held for several days in the Tower.
Really?
Wowzers.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Well, I think both, Sasha, we can both agree we would never have guessed that.
Yeah, no, we're never going to get... My guess was Harry Styles, Paul. Like, it's not going to work.
I like the idea that Harry Styles got drunk and they went to the Tower.
Brilliant. Well, we have been Bears of Good News, and we're going to be back next week, so please do join us again. We've all got other bits and bobs going on. I have a podcast coming out called Character Building Experience, which is a comedy role-playing game show podcast, so please do find us on Spotify or iTunes. Paul, what have you got going on this week?
I also have a podcast called Ask an Archaeologist, for I am, if you hadn't already guessed from my history-based knowledge, an archaeologist. I also am going to be doing a gig tomorrow night, if on the Monday the 27th, if this is out in time.
Nope, it won't be.
Paul's done a gig.
I've done a gig. It went really well. But my podcast is probably the best thing you can follow me on. And if you want to do some archaeology at home, you can go on my YouTube channel where I've shown people how to do the archaeology of standing buildings whilst they're trapped in them.
Ooh, useful. Okay, and Adrian, what have you got going on this week?
Well, as always, I've got a couple of things. I'm still once in a while live streaming The Cat, Bojangles to Cat, which is going to go live randomly whenever he pops in. So that's happening. I'm also doing a late night show called Late Night Lockdown with Adrian Tauss. I'm recording the first episode after this one, and it's going to go out at some point when I think it is worthy for the internet. So look out for that on my page at Adrian Tauss.
Lovely stuff. We've been Bears of Good News. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good week. Bye.
Bye.
Bears of Good News. Bears of Good News. It's the Bears of Good News. The Good News Bears is what I'm talking about.